We have ourselves competitive updates heading into Overwatch 2. So, what is going on here? Well, the first thing that we have to consider, perhaps from a tactical standpoint, is that the first time users, that is, people who do not have an account before October 4th, so people who are starting with Overwatch 2 and didn't play Overwatch 1, those people are going to have to win 50 quick play games before competitive is unlocked for them. But for the rest of us, the ladder should be unlocked immediately. So what does that mean and why is it important? Well, the way Blizzard does their ladder is they set up a distribution where they want 3% of their players in Masters, 8% in Diamond. They want their players spread across the ladder in certain ratios. So if you add a bunch more players to the pool and a bunch more players that in theory should be average, because we're adding average, new, that sort of thing, well, if you're above the 50% mark, adding these new players to the pool should push your rank up. But your rank is not actually going to adjust without you winning games. In fact, your rank is probably going to be softest, least hardened in some ways. They're going to be most willing to move you around before you've really played games of Overwatch 2. So in theory, if you think these new players coming is going to be helpful for you on the ladder because you're above the 50% mark, waiting until they've unlocked with their 50 quick play wins, maybe 3 days, maybe a week, something like that, and then doing your games and then placing could be beneficial to your ranking. On the other hand, once these new players are in the ladder, we're going to be seeing some chaos. If there's really a giant influx of new players, we could be in a situation where these people, even after 50 quick play wins, aren't going to know what appropriate casty positioning is. They might get way too aggressive and just get blown up, gung-ho trying to 1v5 in there. Or, oh hey, I saw this really cool Reddit Lucio play, let me go try it. Oh shoot, I don't actually have the wall right bindings worked out correctly and I fell off the wall rather than connecting to the next one, etc. Some of these games may feel like they're decided by which team doesn't have a teammate that's throwing. And we could be facing that for a while as the ladder clears itself out. That's just how it is when a game is new or has a new giant influx of players. That said, this only matters if we get a big influx of players. If there really isn't very many new players, doesn't really matter. So I want to know what your strategy is there going into that, because there's definitely pros and cons to each. One being, hey, I get to play competitive right away and the games are more stable. The other being, things are a bit wild. But then we get some real updates that aren't just strategy things for you. They are changing how competitive works. And this biggest change is that you no longer have an SR. They're hiding your SR, it's gone. You still have your hidden MMR, but now what they're doing is they're keeping the bronze, silver, gold, Plat, Diamond, Masters, Grand Masters, but they're now doing a 1 to 5 on each of those things. So you could be a Masters 1 player, and that would, in old world Overwatch, mean you're a 3900 player. Or a Masters 5 player might be like a 3520 player, something along those lines. Oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. Cool, that's how they're doing that, fine. But the thing that's really interesting about this is you don't get to see your ranking from match to match. You instead only get an update to your rank once every 7 wins or once every 20 losses. So until you hit one of these benchmarks, you don't know. And that can mean you can take 2 or 3 losses and not immediately know how your SR has moved. It's kind of a psychological trick that they're playing on you, but it probably is going to make it feel better for the individual players to not see, oh, their SR is now below Masters or above Gold or whatever the case is after each individual match there. So I think that's probably a good change, but let me know what you think. The other thing I see about this change, though, that could be a little more concerning is it does make it a little easier for them to hide what's going on in the matches. Is this also going to go with, for example, them making it harder to tell what rank your teammates are or what rank the opponents are in competitive matches? Are you going to get more matches or is it going to be less obvious when you have a match where you have a Masters tank and a gold support in a diamond match or a plat match or something like that? Are those going to be harder to see? Are they going to hide more stuff here? Are they going to make changes under the hood to how MMR works that are harder to see because of this? Hard to really know. Then we get some other stuff. I think this is less important. There's some UI updates. You'll be able to, they're getting rid of career profile stuff that would have been for playing competitive in each season, including the top 500 ones and the sprays, and they're replacing this with titles. And these titles are only going to be good for you earn them in one season. They're only good for the next season, and certain titles were corresponded with you having reached different ranks in the previous season. So that's sort of a new thing that they're playing with there. They tell us that people's SRs or people's ranks will probably be a little bit lower going into Overwatch 2 than they were in Overwatch 1. But then if you're, played a bunch of Overwatch 2, maybe it'll be higher. We didn't really get a clear answer from them of whether they're actually pushing people's ranks down in the conversion over, which honestly could be fine, or if this is a case of them just trying to make people feel better, market speak, whatever, for, hey, some people are going to be better at the game because they've had more Overwatch 2 access than others. They got to play in betas, and that means they're going to take a little MMR from you, effectively, that you haven't adjusted to the game yet for. We also are going to get game reports. These are okay. You're going to be able to click back into your games that you played within the season, and you'll be able to get stuff that would have been on the scorecard for the specific heroes that you played in those games, which, hey, it's more information. I'm not going to complain about it, but it doesn't, based on what we see here, look like you would necessarily be able to see that information for other people that played in your game, which is sort of like, okay, well, that would have been helpful, and you probably stored that information too. It's all in a database. Can we get that too and sort of recreate the game? But hey, that's me from Coach Brain wanting to be able to get in there with analyst data. Top 500 leaderboards, those will update every single game played. So if you were in a situation where, hey, you lost a match when you were ranked 220 and now you're ranked 250, you'll see that immediately. You don't have to wait for 20 losses or 7 wins. Skill decay, this isn't really news. If you haven't played in a long time, the game is less confident in your skill rating and will move you around more quickly. Will move your matchmaking rating around. Great. Competitive rewards, this is basically them just telling us golden guns still exist. So what if you want golden guns? You have them at this point. Who really cares? So that's the update. I think it's kind of interesting. Let me know what you guys think. Do you look at this and say, oh, hey, I think it's really good that they are hiding SR a bit more. They're making it these, Diamond 3, that sort of thing, and you're only going to see the updates every 7 wins or 20 losses, and that's just going to feel better, and that's good for Overwatch? Or do you say, I'm a little more suspicious of what's going on here? I needed the, feedback every single game of the SR number going up and down, the endorphins, all that sort of thing. Let me know, and also let me know what your strategy going into Overwatch 2 here is. Are you going to wait a few days to try to get the benefit from the new players now being there and pushing your SR up a bit when you do those initial placements? Or are you going, no, I want to play right away, or I want to play when there's less chaos because I know there's going to be some chaos and I want to try to get above that chaos as much as I can by climbing before the new players are in there, have unlocked their first time user experience competitive there. Let me know in the comments down below what your plan is. If you're enjoying the content, drop a like, consider subscribing for more Overwatch 2 content, analysis, news, all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Temporal out.